Look at this thing. At first, it almost does not look like architecture. It looks like a fragment of a ruined factory wall, a stack of rough brick masses, heavy, jagged, unfinished. The Mies van der Rohe we usually remember is the architect of glass, of steel, elegance, control. The Mies of the Barcelona pavilion, the Mies of less is more. But this is also Mies. It is another Mies, rougher, heavier, and political. More specifically, it was Mies van der Rohe's monument to the November Revolution, built in 1926 in Friedrichswalde Central Cemetery in Berlin-Lichtenberg. It commemorated Rosa Luxemburg, Karl Liebknecht, and other revolutionaries murdered in the failed uprising of January 1919. And its emotional center is really the aftermath, the defeat of revolution, the murder of its leaders, and the problem of how a political movement remembers its dead. So the first contradiction is simple. One of the great architects of modern abstraction made a deeply political monument out of rough brick. The conflict here is not just stylistic, it is moral. What should a revolutionary monument look like? The commission came to Mies through Edward Fuchs, a wealthy art patron and left-wing cultural figure. At the time, Mies was designing an addition to Fuchs's house. According to Detlef Martin's account, Fuchs showed Mies a model for the proposed monument. It had Doric columns, a familiar language of public honor and solemnity. Mies apparently laughed. The classical monument, he suggested, might be appropriate for a banker, but not for Luxemburg and Liebknecht. As Mies put it, since many of these people had been shot in front of a brick wall is what I would build. That sentence is the key to the project. Mies refuses the heroic monument, no statue, no allegorical woman of liberty, no noble column, no figure raising a flag. Instead, he gives us a wall. But it is not just any wall. It is a wall that seems to have been broken open, pressed outward, forced into motion. Blocks project, blocks recede, horizontal masses slide past vertical ones. Some elements appear to float, but the whole thing remains heavy and grounded. It is stable and unstable at the same time, and that's what makes it powerful. The material was important. The bricks were rough, reportedly salvaged from demolished buildings. They carried the feeling of Berlin itself, damaged and reused. The wall acquired, over time, some more obvious political signs, a large star, a flagpole, and in a later image, the slogan associated with Rosa Luxemburg, I was, I am, I will be. Sources differ on whether that inscription was permanently installed. This is where the monument becomes especially interesting. Mies's brick composition might be abstract, but it is not neutral. The attached symbols make the politics explicit. The wall itself makes them visceral. So the larger idea is this. Mies used abstraction not to escape politics, but to intensify it. That complicates the usual story of modern architecture. We often talk about modernism as clean and universal, as if it floats above history. But this monument does the opposite. It takes modern form and pulls it back into historical trauma. It does not illustrate the trauma or narrate it. It does not show Luxemburg or Liebknecht as martyrs in stone. Mies is using abstraction, but not as a retreat from politics. He is using abstraction to make this politics harder, less sentimental. The monument does not illustrate grief. It does not tell a story in images. It does not ask us to identify with a sculpted face or a dramatic gesture. Instead, it turns political violence into weight, pressure, and surface. The wall says, this memory is not reconciled. It is not at peace. And because the Nazis destroyed the monument in 1935, it is now a monument twice over. It was first a monument to the revolutionary dead, but after its destruction, it became a monument to the vulnerability of political memory itself. What survives are drawings and photographs. Its absence is part of the story now. Mies' monument to the November Revolution shows us a different Mies, not only the architect of refined spaces and perfect details, but an architect willing to make a wall that feels wounded, confrontational, and unresolved. And that is why the monument still matters even today. It asks a question that architecture still struggles with. How do you remember violence without turning it into spectacle? Mies' answer was severe. You build a wall, but you make the wall speak.